Hi there, my name is Bryson Jack, and I just wanted to talk about how to do iterations when saving and how to increase undo levels and how to see undo history, and also to talk about how Blender functions with the undo steps so that you don't lose a lot of work, because there is a quirk with Blender. So the way it works in Blender is the edit mode and object mode have their own undo steps. And if you go to your file user preferences, you go to the editing tab here, under undo you can set the amount of steps that you have, and if the higher you set this up to a maximum of 64, the more memory it's going to use. I have 16 gigabytes of memory, so tonight I went ahead and just cranked it up to 64, and so that means I can, undo 64 times. So anyway, object mode has 64 levels and edit mode has 64 levels. But this is an important thing here. If I'm in object mode and let's say I delete this and I add a sphere. I don't want to do that. Let me just do a UV sphere here. Alright, sorry about that. So anyway, if I go into, let's just go into sculpt mode here. So what I can do is, so I'll just turn on Dyne Topo here. So I can just start sculpting on this. Okay, and so each of these strokes here is a different operation. Actually not counting, so, but here's the point. Let's just say that I had been working on this sculpture here for 15-20 minutes or whatever. So I have access to my undos. I control Z and control Z and control Z, and I can do that all the way back if I want or whatever, and there's really no worries about me losing any work. But what happens is, if I switch back to object mode, okay, since object mode has a separate undo history, really there's only one undo, because it was a sphere, now it's this object. So if I hit Control Z, I lose all my work. Now, if I hit Control and Shift Z, I can bring my work back. But if I hit Control Z and I undo that, and then I go to, say, sculpt mode again, alright, I've just done an operation. Now if I go back to object mode and I hit Control Shift Z, which I just did, I lost all my work. So what basically this means is, if you ever are in edit mode and you are modeling, or in sculpting mode and you're sculpting and you go to object mode, and you can hit Control Z and you lose your work, you can hit Control Shift Z and you can bring it back, but make sure that you don't do anything else, any other operations, because once you do that, you've kind of sealed your fate. And that's what happens to me, or what has happened to me in the past. And so I wanted to explain that so that other Blender users don't get caught by that. Alright, so as far as how to do iterations when saving, if I'm in edit mode here and when I'm working on this and I decide that I want to save, there's a couple ways to do that. The first way is to press F2 or the function 2 key, and then I have my model name here. I can just I'll just type in test. Alright, and I can hit save. And then let's say that I do something else and I bring that point out, and now it's time for me to save again. If I hit F2, you'll see that I'm going to overwrite that, but I can also just hit the plus key over here, or on your numpad you can just hit the plus button and it will add a 1. Now if there was already a number in my, let me just go back, let me do that, and then let's hit F2. I'm just going to show you here. If I had a number in here like a 4, it was 4 test. Okay, and I'm going to save that, and then hit F2 again. If I hit the plus button or on my numpad, it will change that number in there. Okay, maybe that's not what I wanted. So you just need to make sure that if you've got a number inside of your file name, you need to make sure that you have another number towards the end, okay? So that when you hit F2 and you increment up a level, that it's changing that last number, not the one in your file name. All right. Now you can hit Shift Control S and it will do the same thing as F2. So Shift Control S, it opens the same thing. You can increment it the same. All right. Then you can also, if you hit Control S, you can save over it. And then I can hit Control S while I'm working and I can save over it. And I can do that. But here's the thing. If I open this back up, you're going to see that, well, it's actually not going to show. I'm going to have to open it up in my folder here. So let me do that really quick. Let's see. Okay. So when I saved that 3 times, what happened is it saved this file, and then when I saved again, then it named it blend, and then it made my older file blend 1, and then when I saved again, then it made the current one a blend, and then it made my file a blend 1, and then my oldest file a blend 2. Anyway, hopefully I didn't confuse you with that, but the point is that it will it'll just keep overwriting, and it will make sure that your oldest is at the bottom with a number appended, and your newest is the blend file. And as to how many times you can actually do that is specified in your user preferences. So if you go to your user preferences and go to the File tab, then you've got right here it says Save Versions, and you can specify how many times you want it to do that before it starts to just overwrite things. So there's that, and then there's also temporary files that are saved. Blender just automatically does this, and so in this same tab you can set the timer. I think default is 5, so you can tell it how many minutes before it actually just auto saves, and it will auto save with a random number. So when it does that, the way that you can access those is if you go to File and you say Recover Autosave, then what you will see, you can actually hit right here and sort by modification time, and then you'll see all your stuff. So you can see that it auto saved right there, just with the random number behind it. So that means it saves every 2 minutes. Then also, if I were to quit my scene, then it's also going to save a file, and it's going to say quit.blend, and you can access that the same way with Recover Autosave. So you'll see that I have a quit.blend over here from the last time that I quit. Anyway, so that's a bunch of ways that Blender saves, in addition to the incremental saving that you can do. And I showed you how to increase your undo levels. The last thing I'll just show you is how to access your undo history. So let's say that you keep doing operations or whatever, and then I rotate that, and I come over here, and maybe I grab this whole object and scale it up or whatever, and then I move it. So if you don't want to just keep undoing, what you can do is you can hit Control, Alt, and Z, and that will bring up your undo history. And the top is the newest, and the bottom is the oldest. If I did 64 operations, then it's going to go from top to bottom, and it's going to go from left to right, so that on the far right, on the bottom, would be the oldest, and the top left would be the newest. Anyway, so hopefully that helps, and you understand how to make iterations, how Blender does backup protection for you with temporary files and temporary quit files, and how to not lose work if you are in edit mode and then you go into to object mode, and you do an undo. Just make sure you don't do any operation, that you don't go into sculpt mode or edit mode again. Just hit Control Shift Z to redo the operation, and then you won't lose any of your work. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.